Welcome to Postscript, where we teach, chat, and rant about narrative in film. I'm Tori, and I prepare and guide each episode.
And I'm David. I actually know some of the movie titles, but I still don't know what the topic is. But I'm ready to have a strong opinion.
You want to take a guess as to what we're talking about?
No, so yeah, I saw some of the titles this time. I had to
procure them.
I remember them because I walked to Blockbuster to rent them.
Right. Thank you for doing that.
Mm-hmm. But I couldn't put it together. So, yeah, hit me.
Okay. So, this season is called Recounting Crisis or Recounting Financial Crisis or something like that.
Oh, it's a financial crisis thing?
Yeah. It's about how movies evolved throughout the Great Recession.
Mm-hmm.
Our movies this season are going to deal with jobs, wealth, poverty, class, drugs, revenge, stockbrokers, bank robbers, and strippers.
Ooh.
Male and female.
That's great.
We're starting off by exploring two films released in late 2006, when the world was blissfully unaware of the impending crisis. I kind of started thinking about this concept like when I watched the movie Hell or High Water, which I'm not sure you've seen.
No, I've seen parts of it.
Okay. That's the least, blockbuster movie by far of any of the movies we're going to talk about, but it's where this topic originated, so I wanted to keep it in.
My mom liked that movie.
I really liked it. And yeah, for the record, I don't love all the movies that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, and I really like the idea that these movies are dealing with class, but they're not highbrow enough. So it's more like the representation of classist issues in very mainstream cinema, which is very interesting. I think it's a very, very interesting filter to see like what broke into the mainstream, but still dealing with this particular subject.
Exactly. And I'll talk more.
I think it's more interesting than like talking about some indie movie that has a very, Marxist intention.
Right. No, these are meant to be like representative of the kind of the zeitgeist in a way, the mainstream view. Part of the reason that Hell or High Water stuck out to me originally is that it was made in 2016, but it takes place during the beginning of the recession. And so it was interesting to have a movie that took place not that far in the past and was commenting on it deliberately. It's like one of the first movies that was made like retrospectively about the recession.
Yeah.
And started to have things to say about it. But there were also other movies, like we're going to talk about The Big Short. That movie is specifically about the origins of the Great Recession, like what caused the financial crisis.
When did that come out? I'm just wondering, like, how long was the processing?
2015.
2015. Wow. It's a long fucking time.
Yeah, and so another thing I was thinking about, which could just be this is such a huge topic in general, but, and what I want to also talk about through this, which is why I'm calling it Recounting the Crisis, is trauma processing through film. Like mass trauma processing, which if you think about it, like if you take an example like Vietnam.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. Like Deer Hunter was one of the first movies that was not dealing with Vietnam in a symbolic way. Yeah. But it was actually about sending people there, and it was about the actual, and it happened a decade after the war started, at least, but maybe even longer. Yep. It took a long time for Hollywood to start producing movies about that particular subject.
Yeah, like Vietnam was in the late 60s, early 70s. Movies about Vietnam weren't until the late 70s. So it was almost like 8 years or so later.
Yeah. Were there movies, is there an equivalent of like Kelly's Heroes, which is pretty much like a Vietnam commentary in the late 60s, but it's set in World War II.
And there were a bunch of movies in the mid 70s that were about the Korean War, that were clearly about Vietnam, like MASH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like a way of talking about it without talking about it directly. Yeah, like I'm not sure that it actually has this like predictable, you know, time marker or whatever, of like exactly 7 or 8 years, whatever. But I wonder why that period of time seems to be like the right amount of time. It could just have something to do with human memory, but it could also have to do with like the actual ability to move on and feel like that thing has become part of the past. Like what has to happen. And we'll talk about the whole timeline and how things changed, but like things did significantly change in the economy, you know, and improve in the economy before 2015, when we started to like think back on it. Also, this is maybe not something I'm going to include in the podcast. I chose this topic in part because I'm, you know, always processing my financial anxiety. I have an interest in this because it is something that I also process a lot.
I think it's important. I mean, if I were you, I would include this in the podcast. I mean, 2008 definitely affected the way my relationship to finances. And I think my situation particularly is even weirder because I was in Eastern Europe. And this is something that happened mainly in the UK and the US. And my family was financially fucked in Eastern Europe for over a decade because of it.
Yeah.
So it was, the effects of it was very, very global, even though, you know, like they had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and that's part of it too, is like it kind of works with the movies too, because like the movies are coming out of America, but they're going international, and just like the recession, came out of America, but went international.
But it was very, very international. I mean, like to me, as a young, like in my early 20s, around that time period, to me, the realization was just that something happens in a different country and it affects everybody globally. And that was kind of like a realization.
And I think for millennials, like this is pretty significant. And we'll go into what all happened to people during that time, but I don't think anybody wasn't affected by it.
Yeah.
In some way. Okay, so just to kind of break down the way the season is going to go. We're recording this one episode at a time, or actually one like piece of an episode at a time, so things may change as we go through this, and I haven't done all the research. I mean, I haven't even written more than one episode at this point, so a lot could change, and I have some loose theories on like where this is headed, but we're kind of like doing this together. But I do know what movies we're going to be watching, or at least I have a pretty good idea. So we're going to be going chronologically through the movies from basically 2006, which is what these two movies are, to, I think we're going to go up to 2019, because I don't want to fuck with COVID. Things get real weird after that. So yeah, we're only going to do like a small number of movies per episode. This one is just 2, and then so on. In each episode, we're going to talk about the timing of their release as it relates to what was going on during the recession at that point. And then we're going to talk about, like, based on what happens in the movie, what sort of worldview or message is coming across about these different topics. Then we're going to talk about the response from people at that time. So not talking about people's reviews today or how it's seen today, but I read like reviews from the actual year. And
that's cool.
Yeah, and how people were kind of interpreting it or not at that time, so I could have a better understanding of how it like met that moment, what it meant to people, whether people were able to understand or see the message, or whether we can only see it in retrospect. And we can kind of speculate also as to why these films were so popular, like what it was doing for people. So there's about 20 movies in all, so maybe like 10 episodes or something. I kind of looked at all the movies that were really big box office successes between like 2006 and 2019. All of these movies were huge, even if they're on the smaller end. Like compared to most movies, these are giant. They're all internationally released, and I picked the ones that dealt with this thematically. And in the end, they do mostly end up being American, because that's the industry. You know, it's mostly an American export, but they're not all American. Warning for the audience, though, I will be spoiling these movies. I don't really know how I can avoid that.
Yeah.
You know, because I picked movies that basically everyone has seen. Hopefully you would have already seen it.
Yeah.
Our story begins in the early summer of 2006 with an American movie called The Devil Wears Prada. By the fall of 2006, it was released internationally. It was preceded by a book.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. It was a huge book.
That's surprising.
Translated in a million languages and all over the world and stuff. So we're going to start by watching the trailer, just as a...
Yeah.
To jog your memory.
Miranda Priestley's the editor-in-chief of Runway.
So you don't read Runway?
No. Not to mention a legend.
And before today, you'd never heard of me?
No.
You have no style or sense of fashion? No. That wasn't a question.
In the world of high fashion, where so much is at stake,
She is vicious.
Andy Sachs is about to discover
She hates me, Nigel.
it's not just about what you wear,
What do you think?
it's about who you are.
Let me know when your whole life goes up in smoke. When is it's time for a promotion?
People think that success just happens to you. It doesn't. You want this life? The decision's yours.
The Devil Wears Prada.
Reactions?
The most obvious thing is that, yeah, like being a toxic, shitty boss was just cute back then. Like, it was funny to be abusive, and it was funny to be an asshole.
Okay, so I'm gonna do a little summary. Andrea, played by Anne Hathaway, is a promising college grad struggling to enter the workforce in New York, which means she's an elder millennial. She accepts the job as the assistant of notorious fashion magazine editor-in-chief Miranda Priestley, played by Meryl Streep, hoping it will help her break into the journalism world, which is her true passion.
You work a year for her and you can get a job at any magazine you want. A million girls would kill for this job.
Yeah, that's how it works. You just make yourself seen.
Hold that criticism, because it gets so much worse than that.
Okay.
Like, this is one of the more mild ones.
Okay. Yeah.
Hold that for the next movie.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, I think it's good we're getting this out now, because I do want to, you know, I'm not saying we shouldn't pass value judgments on these movies according to our own ideologies, but I do think we should make that bias apparent while we're talking about it, because, you know, I want to talk about this as it relates to society, not as it relates to our values. Although, like, we're not going to be able to keep from making value judgments on these things anyway. Whether it's because we're leftists or it's because of, you know, the benefit of hindsight, like, we have distance now to be able to look at it this way. You know, at the time I would not have pinned any of this. Maybe you would have, like, clocked that this was like...
Not really. I think this is a time period when even I thought that I'm a liberal.
Okay, wow, I didn't know that ever existed. I thought you, like, came out of the womb, you know, as a socialist. As a socialist. You were just, like, your hand emerged, making the fist symbol before the rest of your body came out.
I think I had a little more information about social democracy than most people in the U.S. But
you never had a libertarian phase.
No, fuck no.
I feel like every liberal has had a libertarian phase.
I'm proud to say that I never, ever had a libertarian phase. No.
I totally had a moment. I did. I'm admitting that.
You, my friend, are crossing over to the dark side.
I resent that.
Anyway, note that when this movie begins, she's living in New York without any income, it seems. And in an early scene, we see her father give her money for rent. But she doesn't have a job, as far as we know, and she lives in New York. Mm-hmm. Like a big apartment.
She's renting an apartment in the village with Joey and Chandler.
Yeah, exactly. Her and her friends are all talking about their jobs, and they all say, like...
The jobs that pay the rent.
The jobs that pay the rent.
Jobs that pay the rent.
No jobs used to do that.
Yeah, I know. While at the fashion magazine, she's repeatedly put in a position of choosing between her true values, kindness, compassion, connection with friends and family, personal integrity, and the values of the cultish fashion world, success, beauty, fame, glory, ego. This conflict is framed by her relationship with her friends and her boyfriend, who's basically the voice of reason and the moral center of the movie.
Yeah, well, either that or your job sucks and your boss is a wacko.
We're going to watch 3 scenes of her talking to her boyfriend throughout the movie, so you can see the way it changes.
She is not happy unless everyone around her is panicked, nauseous, or suicidal. I just have to stick it out for a year. 1 year. And then I can do what I came to New York to do. But I can't let Miranda get to me. I won't.
Easy there, Tiger.
Okay, but so, yeah, at this point of the movie, she clearly thinks it's superficial and that the fashion industry is trying to sell stuff to people they don't need. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she's initially resistant.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see what happens to her after that.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I didn't have a choice, okay? Miranda asked me and I couldn't say no.
I know, that's your answer for everything lately. I didn't have a choice. Like, this job was forced on you. Like, you don't make these decisions yourself.
You're mad because I work late all the time and because I missed your birthday party, and I'm sorry.
Come on, what am I for?
You hate runway and Miranda, and you think fashion is stupid. You've made that clear.
Andy, I make port wine reductions all day. I'm not exactly in the Peace Corps. You know, I wouldn't care if you were out there pole dancing all night, as long as you did it with a little integrity. You used to say this was just a job. You used to make fun of the runway girls. What happened? Now you've become one of them.
But yeah, she didn't look stylish. She just had a shit ton of makeup on, but she looks very basic still.
You have anything else to say about the scene other than...
She appears to be more like a very career-driven person and a workaholic rather than somebody who really believes it, or like she refused to admit that she accepted the industry that she was very critical of.
I'm still the same person I was. I still want the same things. Okay? Promise. Same Andy. Better clothes.
Yeah, she's like not been spending time with her friends and her boyfriend. She's been like totally selling her soul to this industry.
Looks like someone's been drinking the Kool-Aid.
So we're just gonna watch another scene with her talking to her boyfriend again to just kind of show how this framing works.
I wanted to say that you were right about everything. That I turned my back on my friends and my family and on everything I believed in. And for what?
For shoes. And shirts. And jackets and belts and...
Nate, I'm sorry.
Hey, well, I don't actually need to show you more than that because, he forgives her. She makes amends to her loved ones and ends up getting a job at a newspaper and returning to her journalism career trajectory. Even though we're told at the beginning that Andrea is struggling to find journalism work, she is living in New York without an income and has her father's money to fall back on. Also, when she takes the fashion job, she mentions that it's that or Auto Universe.
Yeah, I came to New York to be a journalist and sent letters out everywhere and finally got a call from Elias Clark and met with Sherry up at Human Resources, and basically it's this or Auto Universe.
It's played as a joke, but it is notable that she has another option. I mean, she does.
Yeah.
Later, after she leaves the fashion industry, she finds a job in journalism relatively easily. She does use her reference to get that job, but it's almost as if she would have gotten that job anyway. It was just like, seems like it's a matter of time before she's able to find a job in journalism. Even though she struggles, but like she's not really struggling in the way that people would struggle later, I think.
I mean, she struggles as much as you can struggle with a family that can support you financially.
She is supposed to be, in a way, every young college graduate. And I think it's notable that at this time, like, it's interesting that, you know, if you look at 2006, before they even knew the financial crisis was going to happen, that, like, it wasn't being shown like it was easy to get a job. Actually, even then, you know, but it's a struggle, but it's achievable. It's only a matter of time. And
I mean, she's clearly like, she has an at least middle class family. And back then, the middle class in America probably still existed.
Yeah.
So it was not as obvious that this is unrealistic.
Right. Later on in the movie, she chooses, well, eventually, she chooses to leave the fashion industry when she realizes that it necessitates a moral trade-off. She has to screw people over and step on other people to get ahead.
I see a great deal of myself in you. You can see beyond what people want and what they need, and you can choose for yourself.
I don't think I'm like that. I couldn't do what you did to Nigel, Miranda. I couldn't do something like that.
You already did.
To Emily. That's not what I... No, that was different. I didn't have a choice.
Oh, no, you chose. You chose to get ahead. You want this life? Those choices are necessary.
But what if this isn't what I want?
And also the rear projection in this scene in the car is just... It's distractingly poor. I was having a hard time to pay attention because I haven't seen such poor rear projection since the 50s.
I knew you were going to say something about the rear projection. Okay. You saw that middle clip with him saying, like, you chose this, you chose this thing, and you could be, he says, like, I don't care if you were out there pole dancing as long as you did it with some integrity. It's an interesting statement that he makes there because it assumes that we'll always have the option to take a job that pays the rent and doesn't require any moral trade-offs or even any real lifestyle trade-offs. And that choice, that job is always there when you choose to take it.
Yeah.
At least for someone in the middle class. The movie is about values and being true to ourselves and how we choose to be true to ourselves by choosing to live our values. And a person's professional life is included in that choice.
Yeah, you have plenty of options, so make sure that the option you choose is well aligned with your values. Which is a very cute idea. And that explains why they're critical towards the fashion industry and not the corporate world. Or just, the corporate ladder. And what is available to you. Because, they have this mindset that you have so many options and you chose to work for this superficial industry. And that's what's weird about it in a, from this distance. Because, the message was already not feasible. Like, this was not a thing since the 60s and the 70s. Like in the 90s, this idea was still believable for so many people. It was already not true.
Yeah.
But we did believe in it still.
Yeah, people could...
The market had to crash completely.
Right.
In order to us realize, like, oh, fuck, yeah, this is not working.
Yeah. Like, I think people could swallow this morality play of this movie. Like, people could, at least they would want to believe, you know, or they would feel comfortable with the idea of believing that they have this choice in front of them. Things change, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. But in the meantime, it's interesting because she kept a lot of the influences that she got from that job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she doesn't look nerdy anymore. She's not going to be, you know, she's not going to work for the fashion industry anymore. But she kept the makeup. She kept the leather jacket. She kept the style. Like, she learned so much.
Yeah, she's wearing, I guess, stilettos at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Still. Like, the last shot is of her walking down a New York street looking way more fashionable with her stilettos, but she's going to her journalism job now.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, just as a side note, you know, like a lot more toxic behavior was just okay to be funny and quirky and not these more trivial ways of being abusive was not taken seriously on the screen.
I would just like a little credit for the fact that I'm killing myself trying.
Ugh, Andy, be serious. You are not trying. You are whining.
But also the portrayal of the eating disorder behavior by Emily Blunt's character.
Well, I'm on this new diet. It's very effective. Well, I don't eat anything. And when I feel like I'm about to faint, I eat a cube of cheese. Well, it's definitely working. I know, I'm just one stomach flew away from my goal weight.
It's treated as like a joke. It's like fairly lighthearted that she's starving herself and, you know, like that's
Hey, I don't remember that part at all.
Yeah, it's like the character, it's mocking out that kind of behavior, but at her expense. It's not like lamenting the fact that people do this or believe this. It's making fun of her for doing it. But then later, Andrea's character, like Anne Hathaway, she brags to Stanley Tucci's character that she has gone down a size in her weight.
You bet your size 6 ass.
4.
Really?
Cheers.
Oh, wow. Yeah, like she really needed to lose some weight at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he keeps criticizing her for being a size 6, which is, like, thin. Like, that's already thin. It's what you said, like, it's playing it too lightly. I think what's disturbing about it, but also why it's allowed to be like that, why it's allowed to be treated lightly, is because it's treated as a choice. Like, just as Andrea is choosing not to be in that work environment, everyone in that work environment is choosing to stay. So that's what makes it okay, and that's like the logic behind the happy ending.
Yeah. And that kind of explains like why it seemed okay to take all of that so lightly in the movie, because the movie's belief system is that, oh, it's just up to them. If they don't want to be in this, then they don't have to.
As opposed to the way that we might see it now, where it's like, well, you don't really have a choice to be in any work environment that would be exploitative or ask you to give up personal freedoms. Or it's not that it's not criticizing it, it's that it's criticizing those people for having made that dumb choice to opt into this. It almost like praises Miranda, Meryl Streep's character, for being like stepping on other people to get ahead and being ambitious, and it almost defends her with that like pseudo-feminist argument.
Okay, she's tough, but if Miranda were a man, no one would notice anything about her except how great she is at her job.
It's condemning Andrea, Anne Hathaway's character, for not following her own values. Like, it's really just only commenting on the individual and their individual choices, assuming that they have choices, as you said. It was a surprisingly difficult movie to wrap my head around, actually. So, yeah,
because it's very complex.
It is very complex. Okay, so the critical response of Devil Wears Prada didn't have much to say about the toxic work culture or the abusive boss theme. Generally, the critics found it like enchanting and lighthearted. They kind of just ignored any darker subtext that might be there or any kind of commentary.
And also, you know, I wonder, you know, like the discussion is definitely more present right now about this toxic work culture and if it's okay to be presented in a movie without no criticism whatsoever.
Yeah, that's true. And actually that's something that's changed.
That something has changed, and I'm not even 100% sure that change is a good sign.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to, like, looking at from a distance. And I'm also feeling a little depressed how much we actually rely on crappy Hollywood movies to fix these social issues for us.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting to actually, like, somehow try to observe, is work culture any less toxic right now than it was before? Is it reflecting on actual progress on culture?
I don't know.
Okay, let's move on then.
Also, tell Richard I saw all the pictures that he sent for that feature on the female paratroopers, and they're all so deeply unattractive. Is it impossible to find a lovely, slender female paratrooper? No. Am I reaching for the stars here? No. Not really.
So now we're going to talk about The Pursuit of Happyness.
Haven't seen that movie.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to show you some clips, and I think you're going to get the idea pretty fast. It came out in 2016. Its award season coincided with The Devil Wears Prada's award season, so like early 2017. It didn't win a whole lot, but it was nominated for a lot of things and was just like generally considered important. Okay, so let's watch the trailer.
I met my father for the first time when I was 28 years old. When I had children, my children were going to know who their father was.
Yeah. Chris Gardner was doing his best, but his best wasn't enough.
I need the rent. I can't wait anymore. I need you out of here in the morning.
You gotta trust me, all right?
I trust you.
Because I'm getting a better job.
There's no salary. No, I was not aware of that. My circumstances have changed some.
Dad, where are we going?
I don't know. Last year, we had an intern score on 90% on the written exam. He wasn't chosen. It's not a simple pass-fail.
You're not quitting on the shed, are you? Jay says you're pretty determined.
I'm in a competitive internship at Dean Witter.
He said you're smart.
This is impossible. I can do it.
No, you can't. No one can.
You want something, go get it. Period.
You want to say something now?
Can I just, because there will be so many other things that are problematic about this, but only the title of, like, Pursuit of Happyness. He's not pursuing happiness. He's pursuing a wage that is covering his and his son's expenses.
Yeah, and I'm going to come back to that idea of what happiness is, and I think that we should continue to come back to that idea of what happiness is in all these movies.
Yeah.
So, summary. A 30-something black father named Chris, played by Will Smith, is living in Reagan-era San Francisco. He's a salesman who made a bad investment on a product that he's struggling to sell. His wife abandons him and their young son. There's some confusion there. There's a lot of plot holes in this movie. He has a random encounter with a white dude with a suit and a fancy car who tells him that he just needs to be, quote, good with numbers and good with people, and that he doesn't need a college degree to become a stockbroker like him and therefore become rich. So we're going to watch that scene with the stockbroker.
Man, I got 2 questions for you. What do you do and how do you do it?
I'm a stockbroker.
Stockbroker? Oh, shit. Had to go to college to be a stockbroker, huh?
You don't have to. Had to be good with numbers and good with people. That's it.
Hey, you take care.
I still remember that moment. They all looked so damn happy to me. Why couldn't I look like that?
He starts to talk to this dude just, you know, like parking his Ferrari, and this white stockbroker just stops and has a conversation about his Ferrari with this random black dude. Like that's already so realistic.
Yeah.
Just this one scene, I never seen such disgusting Wall Street propaganda ever. This is amazing.
You see that one guy? He's like skipping down the stairs of the bank.
Yeah. Not even they themselves would trying to paint this picture of themselves as being happy. They're finding loopholes and outsmarting the system, but it's never and he talks about it like he's like seeing a hippie community, you know, like singing and dancing together. These people are not on LSD. These are on coke. That's not the vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know anything about this movie before I watched it for this podcast, and it really delivers on the pre-recession, I think, really well.
And in 2008, these stockbrokers just like threw the entire nation and the rest of the world against the wall.
Yeah.
And it took 7 more years to just like us being okay with a movie like The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Which still felt like a controversial movie when it came out. I remember that.
Yeah. So based on that one conversation he has with the rich white dude, Chris decides to spend many months in an unpaid internship competing for a position as an entry-level stockbroker. While in the internship, he goes broke and starts living with his son out of homeless shelters and public restrooms.
Wait a minute. Okay, so he's not just a working class dude living in a crappy apartment, but he's actually homeless.
During that time period, while he's in this unpaid internship, he doesn't really have another job. He's selling off the remaining product that he has. And so he and his son become homeless during that internship.
But there's that one scene when it's a basketball course or something. It's a clip that comes up on YouTube as, you know, like one of the best motivational speeches in movies.
That's the next clip we're watching.
I'm going pro!
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. You know, you'll probably be about as good as I was. That's kind of the way it works, you know, and I was below average. You'll excel at a lot of things, just not this. I don't want you out here shooting this ball around all day and night, all right?
All right.
Okay? Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. All right?
All right.
You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it. You want something, go get it. Period.
This
is why at least our generation of Americans is so fucked up, because our parents kept telling us that we could do anything we wanted to do.
Yeah, and then it turned out like, no, we can't even buy a house.
Yeah. In the end, he beats all 20 people he's competing with in the internship, And then we're told in text on the screen that he becomes a stockbroker and then he becomes a millionaire.
Wow, such amazing upward mobility. What's the percentage of that in America during the Reagan era? Not in 2006, because in 2006, that's definitely a one-digit number. Maybe a point and then a number. I wonder if this movie really been successful outside of America.
No, I tried to pick movies that were, you know, big in general, but you're right that this one is more of a big in the US. But it wasn't like rejected by international audiences at all. It was still pretty embraced.
I mean, that's another thing that was incredibly overrepresented in American movies. Incredibly wealthy people. And that switch also happened after the 2008 crisis. But it was, and that's why so many people thought outside of the US that most Americans are very, very rich. Because that was the only lifestyle that was portrayed in Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
Everybody was wealthy.
Or this, where a very poor person could become very wealthy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the American dream. Rags to riches.
But that part is true because, you know, America is people in poverty and millionaires.
Okay, so similar to Devil Wears Prada and probably a lot of the movies we're going to talk about, there's like an explicit message and then there's kind of like implicit messages. The explicit message, as you noted, if you believe in yourself and you work hard and you follow your dreams, you can achieve anything. And yes, as you noted, because it's sort of a message to and about poor people that if you're a failure, it's your fault. And there's something, if you're poor, just stop being poor. There's one thing that particularly irritated me about this. Chris is behaving extremely irresponsibly toward his son, and the movie just praises him for it. Like, it's not okay to just let your child be in an unhealthy and dangerous situation when you have like any other reasonable option available to you. And I realized that other option would just be a shitty job. But at least that would provide basic food and shelter, and he never considers it.
And that's
he never says anything about it. Yeah.
And that's exactly why people like him have very shitty jobs. And they're working their ass off because they probably have a child.
Yeah.
And they don't risk their child to be homeless just for a short period of time because I'm about to become a millionaire.
Yeah, because they don't have capital. Like, capital doesn't have to be money. It can also be time and energy. You know, just the ability to like invest in something for a period of time when you're not sure that risk is going to pay off. Like, that's capital. And he does not have capital, but he uses it as if it's a guarantee that just because he worked very hard, he's going to get. Yeah. It also made me think of like multi-level marketing schemes. I was like, this is why people fall for pyramid schemes, you know?
It's an Amway conference where you want to show this movie.
One of the implicit messages is that we live in a meritocracy. There are no systemic issues. Any disadvantage can easily be overcome through hard work and determination. We all have an equal shot at life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, because the movie truly pretending like racism in America is not a thing.
Yeah. The guy is also like, he's like, oh, you have to go to college to be a stockbroker. And the guy's like, you don't need to go to college. So then there's another like, oh, you didn't go to college. But
yeah, because all the connections that you got in college can be you can just get those in the homeless shelter. Like, and also he's so irritatingly positive and smiley. Like, that positive energy does not exist when you live in poverty.
Yeah.
Unless you have a mental issue.
So we're going to watch another scene. This is a potential client for his stockbroker internship, so he's trying to schmooze with him.
I'm used to being in a position where I have to make decisions, and Mr. Twistle, listen, this is a very important...
I'm sorry. This thing's impossible.
I can do it.
No, you can't. No one can. It's bullshit.
Also, yeah, it wasn't clear. So that's the first time he's interacting with the Rubik's Cube?
He sees one earlier in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
His son brings one home, but he doesn't... He fiddles with it a little bit, but he doesn't really, like, learn
So he's kind of just, like, you know, figuring it out in that car.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure I can do it.
No, you can't.
Let me see it. Give it here. Oh, wow, you really messed it up.
Sorry.
It looks like it works around a swivel, so the centerpieces never move. So if it's yellow in the center, that's the yellow side.
Right.
If it's red in the center, that's the red side.
Okay.
So you can slow down.
Oh, listen, we can drive around all day, because I don't believe you can do this.
Yeah, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't. I'm telling you, no one can.
The Rubik's Cube in the 80s did not have the logo on the white side.
That's your issue.
I know this because I'm Hungarian and Rubik's Cube is also Hungarian. And it's a very recent, past 2000 thing that it had a logo on the white side.
That's the main issue.
That's the main issue.
Good job.
So we're told that Chris is smart, right?
He said you're smart.
I like to think so.
It's mentioned he was good in school, or like he excelled in school in certain ways.
First in your class, in school, high school.
Yes, sir.
How many in the class?
12. It was a small town.
I'll say.
But I was also first in my radar class in the Navy, and that was a class of 20.
They keep reiterating that he's naturally gifted and smart also. Everything else about this mindset is like, oh, you work hard and it's your choice, right? You can choose to succeed by working hard or not. But then there's this idea that like you have to be smart, you have to be good with numbers, you have to be good with people. So like, doesn't that immediately take all the equality out of the equation?
Yeah, exactly. Because it introduces the idea of talent and like some God-given gift.
Yeah, so what is this movie saying to people who are not smart? Smart in the sense of this movie.
That they don't matter.
It also made me think of Good Will Hunting.
Oh, God.
Which is much older. It is similar in the sense that I think we're supposed to be rooting for him because we're supposed to identify with him. Is it just because anyone who this ideology would appeal to would also be the kind of person who would fancy themselves as smart?
And the funny thing is, like, you know, like, the movie could take the stance either that smart is just something you were born with, and some people born smart, and some people born unsmart. Or it could say that, like, no, you become smart by putting the work in it, but some people have the time and the support and the early enough introduction to such puzzles and to such challenges that you have time to develop those skills. Either way, it's not fair.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you get it through socialization, well, some people have access to it and some people don't. So it's unfair. And if it's some kind of like, if it's genetic lottery, well, that's even more obvious why it's not fair.
Or is it because he's just so determined? Because that would be in line with the ideology.
And again, that's not how the Rubik's Cube works. It's not...
No, but
the Rubik's Cube is not being solved by will.
Well, that's my question kind of is like, is it a mindset or is it a gift? Like, what would a conservative person say? Like, they've got to have what's their talking point around this
Their
thing?
talking point depends on the situation. It gives you both options. So you can choose both bullshit depending on the situation. But it's never luck. Like if somebody accidentally makes it, oh, it was not an accident, they are smart. If somebody doesn't make it, well, they didn't work hard enough. So, yeah, like why did we want to assume that in order to become successful as a stockbroker, you have to be good with people.
Because he does make phone calls basically the whole time, and he's trying to sell stocks to people. So it does make sense.
Is it being good with people or being a good manipulator? I
being
never...
Charismatic.
Charismatic.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But like, I would argue that's like a very specific person, you know, who, like you said, is both good with numbers and good with people. I mean, pretty unusual to be good with both those things.
No, that barely happens. And there are hundreds of other types of talents and skill set, and we just don't value them. And somehow we just accepted that, like, oh yeah, that's fair.
No, that's the thing, is like, how is it that it treats it as such just a universal smart people thing?
And also, you know, like, since you mentioned charisma, it's probably like, you know, like, probably charisma and arrogance is far more important in being a stockbroker than numbers.
Excessive confidence is probably the most valued skill in our society.
Yeah.
In order not to waste any time, I wasn't hanging up the phone in between calls.
Okay, thank you very much.
I realized that by not hanging up the phone, I gained another 8 minutes a day.
Why, good morning to you. My name is Chris Gardner. I'm calling from Dean Witter.
I also wasn't drinking water, so I didn't waste any time in the bathroom.
You were so right that this movie is going to piss me off.
So we're just going to watch this for a second, and then I'll...
This part of my life is called paying taxes. If you didn't pay them, the government could stick their hands into your bank account and take your money.
Dad!
No warning, nothing.
Wow. Okay, so they have a taxation is theft message there as well. It's a Republican wet dream, this movie.
Like, first of all, early in the movie, Chris's wife warns him that if he doesn't pay the back taxes he owes, he's going to owe a penalty.
That means interest, right? And a penalty.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, why don't you let me do this?
And then, later in the movie, the IRS withdraws money from his bank account by force, and Chris claims he got no warning, nothing.
But even in the movie, he got a warning.
Yeah. So he knew.
So he just ignored it.
Yeah, he just ignored it. Yeah, like... And I looked it up, and of course there are tons of warnings when this happens. And there's hearings. I'm not even defending the fact that they did that. I'm just saying, like, the government doesn't... This movie is saying, like, the government just seizes your money without any warning. It's like, in real life, they do warn you, and there's hearings.
Mm-hmm.
Also, so then, it's got this anti-government, anti-big government, anti-taxation message.
Yeah, because it's classic Reagan-style neoliberalism.
Yeah, but he stays in homeless shelters.
Good point. Very good point.
How do you think that is there?
Well, the homeless shelter grows on the tree.
Yeah.
Just like the pavement and the sewage system.
And then I looked up the actual person who it's based on, and those homeless shelters that he stayed in with his son received city and federal funding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, like, there's a point to taxes, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that it's, sure, there's corruption, there's a lot I don't agree with, blah, 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 but the other thing is that, like, he never even mentions or considers any other sort of federal assistance program, including food stamps, which were around at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for his son, this is like, it's like he's a bad father.
Yeah.
Like, it's showing how much he cares and stuff, but, like, there are services available, especially for children.
Mm-hmm.
To keep them out of homelessness.
At least he's being consistent with that one, because, if he has that libertarian mindset,
he wouldn't accept food stamps.
He wouldn't accept food stamps.
Yeah, but he'll go to a homeless shelter.
Yeah, like that's why they often compare libertarians to house cats, because they have this, like this self idea of their, like, fierce competence, and they're completely unaware of the system that it's keeping them alive.
So, on the flip side, obviously it's two sides of the same coin. The bankers are all like extremely benevolent and kind. You know, there's no greed, there's no cocaine.
I was waiting for Witter resource head Jay Twistle, whose name sounded so delightful, like he'd give me a job and a hug. I just had to show him I was good with numbers and good with people.
I think, well, for sure, this is an accidental commentary that it's making, but I think it's notable that Chris has no friends, no community, no family, and I feel like it's not intentionally kind of like showing the sort of alienation of capitalism, but like, you know, people in poor communities tend to like stick together and help each other, and he's completely isolated.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And again, like just like so many things in the movie, it doesn't even consider it. And he has one friend, another black guy, who they pretty much have a pretty contentious relationship. Like this guy owes him money. He spends most of the movie trying to get money from his friend that he loaned money to.
You owe me $14.
I'm gonna get that to you.
I need my money.
So it's also kind of being like, and don't loan money to your friends because they'll just steal your money.
I mean, yeah, like probably it doesn't show any community around him because it could just like contrast his situation to other people who are in the same situation, but somehow they didn't make it.
Like, I think his one friend is shown to be a contrast to him because his friend, like, yeah, owes him money and is being, like, irresponsible or whatever. But if they showed a group of people all, like, continuing to be poor, then you might consider it a systemic problem. But
yeah,
they don't want to like think about that. Yeah, so you mentioned Happyness earlier and the title. So like you could think of it as happiness is being able to provide for your loved ones, I guess, if we're being generous, like in terms of what he's pursuing, because he ultimately like gets enough money to be able to provide for his son, and that's his goal. But I think the thing that's weird about it is that it equates that with being a millionaire. And I don't know if you remember what other movies we're going to talk about, but this is going to come up again. So just hold on to that thought. Okay. So I'm just going to move on to the response from the criticism at the time. At the time, there was a lot of praise basically for the movie. People didn't really seem to pick up on any issues and I mean, it was just considered to be like totally normal and mainstream. Been like The Guardian, Peter Bradshaw, I know that's a name that people know. I'm not good with like knowing critics. I read his review and he was just totally like, thought it was so, you know, inspiring.
Yeah.
However, I did find one, pretty much only one, from like a prominent news source critique from Manola Dargis of the New York Times, who called it a fairy tale and realist drag. Quote, the same old bootstrap story. And said to like it, you have to, quote, buy the idea that poverty is a function of bad luck and bad choices and success the result of heroic toil and dreams. So, I mean,
nice.
I think it's important context to know that like people were saying stuff like that at the time.
Person at this point.
Person.
Yeah.
Person was saying that. So credit to her.
It was right then that I started thinking about Thomas Jefferson.
I'm just going to compare The Devil Wears Prada to The Pursuit of Happyness and also just highlight, kind of just summarize the main messages that we have so far. So main messages so far. Both movies end with the most positive possible outcome for the characters. So it's just a completely unambiguous message. So happy endings is kind of a thing that I think was pretty mainstream at the time. The merits that you need to have are to be determined, resourceful, and hardworking. If you have those things, you can succeed in corporate America, and like privilege is not like highlighted as a factor in either of these movies. Also, both movies don't show, it's like the pre-recession economy, they're not depicting it as easy. Like, it's not handed to you. You still have to prove yourself, but there is upward mobility, and if you work hard, you can get it. In both movies, also, the idea of individual choice is at the kind of center of the movie, which is like the implication being that you're in control of your fate. In The Devil Wears Prada, the individual choice is about being true to yourself. In Pursuit of Happyness, the individual choice is about believing in yourself.
It's not bothering me as much, the ethics of Devils Wear Prada, because it doesn't feel like it's trying to be a political statement. I think it's just trying to be an entertaining movie, yet the Pursuit of Happyness, it's full of scenes that are preachy, and they're trying to be inspiring and motivating you, and they're like, that's a movie that it's clearly meant to deliver a political message there.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's why it would fell into a way more problematic category to me, even though essentially they're kind of representing the same ideas.
Well, good segue, because I think there are a couple key differences, which I'm going to point out now. One big difference, I think, is that in The Devil Wears Prada, it's putting like fame and glory of the fashion industry, like these shallower things, in opposition to like deeper things like connection with others, like integrity, your personal passions, and things like that. Whereas the Pursuit of Happyness kind of just lumps them all together into one thing, if that makes sense. So like the fancy car and being a millionaire is in the same category as like caring for your loved ones. It's all just one thing.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Another thing that I think is a big difference between them is in The Devil Wears Prada, it's the reason she decides to leave the fashion industry is because she realizes that there is going to be a moral trade-off to being at the top. And that the implication is sort of like in America, in corporate society, whatever, once you get to a certain level, like you can't have gotten there without screwing people over. Although, as I was saying before, I think that it does also kind of have this live and let live mentality of like, that's okay because they chose that, so it's okay for me to not choose that. But in The Pursuit of Happyness, there's no moral trade-off whatsoever to being at the top. The way that they show the people who are already at the top before he gets there, the way that he climbs to the top, it's all this very like up and up. They're all morally like pure.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
So I think they're good representations of two ideas that were there, even though, like you said, like they're basically the same.
Yeah.
In the end of the day.
The ultimate message of the two movies are not that different, but
like one is center left and one is center right, but they're both center, basically, I guess. For America, I mean.
I'm not going to approve
center
left thing ever, but I see what you mean.
Yeah.
From an American perspective.
Yeah. Like, okay, one would align more with Democrats and one would align more with Republicans, but in the end of the day, they're both just liberal, neoliberal, centrist ideas.
Yeah, that's more like something I would put my stamp on.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because exactly what's missing there is capitalism criticism is completely missing from both movies.
Yeah.
And so, like without that, I'm not willing to call it left wing.
Right. So we can kind of see how that changes, if it changes, what it changes into, whether it continues to be like these two ideas in the mainstream. So I was kind of looking at movies between like 2001, 9/11, and 2006, right before the recession. And just again, limiting it to super big movies. And, you know, also limiting it to movies that are dealing with class, the economy, wealth, poverty, income inequality, stuff like that. And honestly, like, those were just not big themes in general during that time. Yeah, so just want to talk about that time for a second and just go through a couple of honorable mentions in terms of movies. One movie is Crash from 2004.
I've seen Crash. Yeah.
I've seen all three of the movies I'm about to talk about, but I haven't seen them in a very long time. The reason I'm just bringing it up momentarily is just that it does have like poor and rich in it, but as far as I can tell, it's not really about that. It's not really about income inequality. I don't know that it's dealing with anything, but I don't think it's really dealing with class that much.
I think it's dealing with it to some degree. Yeah, I think it's dealing with class more than most American movies. I'm not saying it's dealing with it well, but at least it's present.
Well, yeah. If I should be talking about that movie and I missed it, then sorry, audience, and maybe y'all can go check it out and let me know. Second one is The Aviator from 2004.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, really? Not that you should. It was just a big movie.
I remember.
You know what it is.
I know it was a very big movie. I was just really not interested.
Fair enough. It's about this super rich and famous person, but I think it's depicting him as sort of like a tortured genius. So I don't think it's really dealing with class either in a critical way. Which is interesting, I think, because we will talk about Wolf of Wall Street, which is also DiCaprio, Scorsese. And it's not that, I mean, it is 9 years later or something like that. So, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and the third movie, I'm really curious. I don't think we've ever talked about this movie.
Okay.
Is V for Vendetta from 2005?
Haven't seen that one either.
Really?
I wanted to watch it.
It's not really about class so much or about the economy or whatever. It's more about government control versus freedom. So it's kind of a 1984 scenario. It's hard to say what it meant at the time. Point being that V for Vendetta is not necessarily capitalism criticism, just because it's anti-authoritarianism or whatever.
Yeah.
Now that's going back to, Will Smith getting a letter from the IRS and being like, they went into my bank account without me saying it's okay. It's like, that's. I think that could be, and him being like, this is basically 1984, like you could see someone making that connection.
Yeah. Fight Club was touching the ideas of capitalism criticism, but it was also like violent and radical.
Well, that's why I wanted to not even look pre 9/11, because I think that
just makes it even more complicated.
It does, yeah, because I think that there may have been capitalism criticism emerging in the 90s, especially since there was a pretty strong indie film movement in the U.S. during that time.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think that all pretty much got shut down after 9/11, so I wasn't going to go back that far.
Yeah, probably. Because if you think about it, like Office Space was definitely...
Yeah.
And that was a movie that was made at least a year before Office Space with all female leads. Clock Watchers.
Yeah, I wanted to watch that, actually.
And that's definitely not just corporate criticism, but capitalism criticism as well.
And I think, I'm not acting as though it's a straight line of upward towards progress or towards whatever, or... So I always kind of push back against this idea that, things were more conservative in the past. It goes back and forth and symbols change and...
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So The Devil Wears Prada and The Pursuit of Happyness, which saw their major success in early 2007, narrowly missed any sign of the financial crisis by just a few months. By the end of 2007, the domino effect, which would propel the world into financial crisis, had already begun. Our next episode will take place during and just after the crisis hits the US and the UK. I just want to... first, I just want to thank all of our friends and family who are listening to the podcast. It's really great, and we love to hear your feedback and your thoughts, so keep sharing. Also, I totally recognize that this is not for everyone, and I do not have the goal of having 1 million listeners or making money with this thing or anything. But I think that just like word of mouth is going to be like the main way that people will find it. And I just want people who would like it to find it.
So yeah, dear friends and family of ours, neither of us are going to judge you if it's not your thing and you don't want to listen to full episodes. But If you have anyone in mind who's a movie nerd and would be interested, please recommend the podcast.
Also, don't worry, I can't see too much, but I have some data that shows me where people are listening from.
Long story short, we're just wondering who the fuck is listening in Germany.
And anyone out there who doesn't know me personally, please just feel free, feel more than free. I would love it if you would just reach out. So you would just email us at postscriptcast@gmail.com. That's postscriptcast@gmail.com.
No hyphens, no dots.
No hyphens, no dots.
Yeah.
One word. Would just love to hear something from the void that we are sending this out into. Thanks for listening to Postscript. The music for this episode was created by my brother, Graham. If you want to reach any of us, you can email postscriptcast@gmail.com.
Postscriptcast@gmail.com.